I'm trying to get even more sync placements in 2025, so I'm going to show you the 9 habits I tried this previous year that you can steal. It's helped me stop leaving money on the table for somebody else to take. One of the biggest questions beginners always ask me when they start getting into sync licensing is what genres are actually best for sync? And the answer is literally screaming at you in the face every single day. You just haven't noticed it yet. The challenge here is that without actually knowing what's trending, you're likely to create music that doesn't align with what's actually being placed, like future-based polka or something weird like that. Imagine pouring hours into a track only to find out it's a genre that sync reps just aren't looking for at the moment. To stay ahead, you have to keep up with the music, shows, and ad campaigns that are dominating placements right now. Study what's trending in both music and media. If you develop this into a habit, not only will it keep you in the loop, but it also will help you land placements a lot more consistently. I hear music producers and indie artists talking about, oh, I don't have a lot of time to watch TV because I'm trying to work on my career. Well, this is an easy way that takes less than 60 seconds to do collectively. So now that you have a finger on the pulse of what's actually going on in the marketplace, let's talk about how to actually get your music out there and increase your chances of landing those placements for the bucks. Research alone is not going to cut it. You need to actually get your music out there in the hands of people that are wheeling and dealing placements. A lot of musicians get stuck on this step because they're feeling like either their work isn't perfect enough for sync or they get overwhelmed by all the options. Each day that your music isn't out there is another day where potential revenue is being left on the table. But here's the kicker. Every library has its own unique needs. Sticking to just 1 or 2 platforms limits your chances. Imagine if you were fishing inside of a small pond when you could actually be casting inside of a huge lake. By only submitting to 1 or 2 platforms, you're actually missing out on thousands of other opportunities that they just might not have, where your track actually fits perfectly. Why can't I put this back on? Anyway, and when the sync rep doesn't see variety, it's easy for them to overlook your work no matter how great it is. So here's the plan. Choose 1 library or 1 platform today and submit a track. It's super easy. It takes less than 60 seconds. Normally there's a submission tab at the bottom of their websites. The goal is to build momentum, not perfection, because every new library you submit to expands your reach. And the more fishing lines you got in the water, the more fish you're going to catch. If you're already doing this, add 1 more. But if you really want to stand out in the sync world, you need something that hooks the listeners, literally. Strong hooks just aren't for TikTok hits or mainstream Billboard charts. They're also crucial in sync placements to catch attention right away. The tricky part is you have to have a good hook. It's not just about something that's catchy. You need something that blends that catchiness and memorable sonic moment. I get that it can feel like a lot of pressure to create something amazing every single time. You don't necessarily have to. Ed Sheeran said he wrote hundreds if not thousands of songs before he got to the really good ones. You have to create those bad ones to get to the gems. Without a strong anchor hook, your song's going to be overlooked anyway, no matter how good the production is. So here's something that I do every day that only takes 60 seconds. All you have to do is brainstorm just 1 hook. I got good at doing this because when I forgot my first car, the radio didn't work. I was humming and making songs in my head and on voice memos on my phone all the time. You don't need a whole song. Normally you just need some type of melody or phrase that stands out. It's like giving your track a first impression boost. And over time, these hooks not only stack up, but you get better at them because you're practicing it. It's an easy habit to develop, and even 6 months into the year, you've got a vault of killer ideas that you can pull from for the next brief that comes in just to get you started. Now you got your trending sound, you're submitting music and creating dope hooks, but here's a hidden gem. Sync communities are a great place where people swap insights, share opportunities, and even lend feedback to help their music succeed. I cannot tell you how many times I've had the revelation that my music actually sounds different when I'm watching someone else listen to it. It's like, oh man, I forgot to put in that extra snare, or the transition here wasn't what I actually intended. And here's the other challenge. Too many creatives stay in their own bubble trying to land placements by themselves. And that's totally fine. It's doable because it can feel intimidating to jump into a community. Maybe there's a lot of other people that have been getting placements forever and you're feeling like you're just starting out and there's no room for you. Or maybe you're just not keen to promoting yourself or things of that nature. But without these connections, you're missing out on extremely vital information, whether that be with trends, tips, and insider contacts. I guarantee you, inside of whatever community you decide to join, Sync Alliance is always available, and we have free trials right now if you want to check it out. No matter how many people are in that community, there's 3 times as many briefs that are actually happening on a day-to-day basis. So here's the habit. Spend just a minute a day connecting with somebody in that community, whether that be through commenting, sharing a piece of music you made, or giving feedback on someone else's music. In the Sync Alliance, we've made this easy because we meet weekly where real music supervisors and sync agents come inside of our community, listen to your music, and offer feedback. Many of our new members have actually gone from just being a newcomer and getting signed within the first 3 to 6 months just because they had this kind of access and guidance. It's like having a direct line to the industry without having to leave your studio. Something that's really important is having a recognizable sound in sync licensing. Think of artists like Hans Zimmer or Ludwig Göransson Robinson. They've developed something so unique that you know instantly when you're listening to their work. Music supervisors are looking for tracks with that same clear signature vibe that can cut through the noise and connect with any audience. But see, this is where a lot of creators get stuck. They think refining their sound takes endless hours or feeling pressure to imitate trends instead of creating something truly their own. The truth of the matter is though, you don't need hours, it only takes a few minutes of building tiny, repeatable habits that continue to build on your style to keep it fresh and distinct without overhauling your entire approach. You're still gonna get to the same result, one just feels a lot easier and you can actually get a lot more done. That being said, missing a sync brief or deadline is like showing up to an audition after they've cast the lead. Your track might be absolutely perfect, but if it's late, it's out. I've been on the short end of the stick many a times. When you got multiple briefs coming in every week, staying organized is essential. If you don't keep track, opportunities will slip away and it's really frustrating to realize that you could have landed a placement because you had the right song, but you just weren't organized enough. For a lot of us, it's easy to feel overwhelmed with the volume of briefs that may be coming in, but having the consistent habit of checking them every day, even if you know you're working on one, I can't tell you how many times I've looked at the brief over and over again and didn't realize that the time zone was different and I was actually like an hour or two behind or maybe ahead. So using tools to notify you, sometimes I'll actually write the due date in my calendar so I can see when exactly it's due, will help you from missing last minute placements. I like to stay organized with a checklist, briefs received, brief deadlines set, and the tracks submitted to certain libraries. This habit alone has saved me from missing out on tight deadlines more than once. I get notifications set up so that when every brief comes in, it gets my attention right away. If you're serious about landing more sync deals, this daily habit is going to keep you in the loop and ahead of the game. It only takes like 2 seconds with a smartphone to just highlight the date and it goes straight to your calendar. Staying on briefs like this is really essential, but what about keeping up with the people that are actually sending them to you? Going to conferences like Shades of Sync, meeting new people and making connections is all great, but if you don't follow up afterwards, those connections fade very fast. It's like planting a seed and forgetting water is. It's not gonna grow. Most musicians drop the ball here thinking that a quick introduction is enough, but here's the truth. Sync reps and music supervisors, especially at sync events, meet hundreds of creators at a time. So if you're not actually following up, you're not memorable. I can guarantee that. You're just another face in the crowd or another name in an inbox. You're potentially missing out on deals that could have been yours if you actually just did a simple follow-up. Again, all this revenue, we got oodles and oodles of it left on the table. So make it a habit to send a short, genuine message within a few days after every event, like Shades of Sync. Mention some type of fine detail from your conversation you had with them or some type of unique fact about your track that made it personal. For instance, hey, what's going on, such and such. It was great connecting with you at the Shades of Sync event. I'd love for you to check out this track that we talked about earlier. It aligns with some of the projects that you mentioned. Super simple, only took 2 seconds. Consistent follow-ups have turned casual contacts into long-term partnerships and have led to a couple different sync opportunities. And when you're aiming for these kinds of placements, it's tempting to only focus on creating your music. But think about it, there's a gold mine hiding in the tracks that have already been placing. Studying sync tracks like this is obvious cheat code. A lot of music creators skip this step as well, thinking, oh yeah, I'll just be unique and that'll be enough to get me noticed. But that's not necessarily the case. Sync reps choose tracks that already fit specific vibes and themes and the arrangements that actually help them get placements. This includes the mood, tempo, even the genre. Not analyzing exactly what music supervisors and sync reps are looking for is like trying to play a game without knowing the rules. You might get it eventually, but there's gonna be a lot of L's taken. It takes less than 60 seconds to actually study a sync track and figure out the tempo, how it builds up, whether the track is instrumental or lyrical, checking out the arrangement, does it have a high build of energy, is there a drop of silence in the moment? These kind of small observations give a roadmap to creating sync-ready music, potentially cutting years off your learning curve. Another big mistake that creators make is scrambling when these sync opportunities pop up. A lot of sync reps need tracks extremely fast, sometimes within the same hour that they sent the email. Imagine that a brief hits your inbox and instead of grabbing the perfect track, it's buried in folders that you're trying to remember where you had it saved, because oftentimes I have issues with trying to make sure that I remember the names of certain tracks. Here's the reality though, sync reps don't have time to actually dig through files or rustle up the stems. If you're not ready to send the music right away, the opportunity could be someone else's. To stay ahead, create a dedicated playlist with your sync ready tracks, organized by genre, mood, and energy level, and make different alternate versions so that when they ask for these things, you already have them pulled up. This way, when a brief actually lands in your inbox, you got 2 links that you can just pull up on your Real Crafter or your Disco and be able to send them out immediately. Normally, the first one that actually fits what they're looking for gets the job. By doing this, you're also instantly setting yourself apart from someone who isn't reliable, and it shows that you're ready to get synced and start landing placements even faster. This is $10,000, which is pretty standard when it comes to higher budget sync placements on television shows that are really popular for a featured song. You'll be able to land tons of sync placements like these in 2025 with these 9 habits. They've already helped me a ton this year. But here's the thing, building those kinds of habits is only part of the puzzle. Many talent music creators overlook what I call sync gold that makes tracks irresistible to music supervisors. So much to the fact that they're stuck in their head. And these same music creators are always wondering why they're not getting callbacks or any type of other opportunities, even if they made the deadline for the brief. So in this video right here, I'm going to show you exactly how you can craft tracks that supervisors can't ignore so you can finally start landing the placements you're aiming for.